All right. Welcome to Gilky Way Galaxy production, the M and J Music Hour. M as in Michael, J as in, Jay Williams. I'm here with the wonderful Jay Williams, my co-host. Thanks for joining us, Jay.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Thanks to our digital media age, I'm here in San Jose, California, in the headquarters of Gilky Way Galaxy Productions.
Yeah, don't
And
say don't say digital age when I'm the one sitting here with an iPad. You're rocking a piece of paper for our outlines, so don't even don't even go there.
right, right. But you've got the iPad and you're my co-host, so.
That's true.
and
That's true.
I got the phone. I switched over to the iPhone now after
There you
having a flip phone for years. That's another story.
That's a really long story.
so
Okay, proceed.
thank you. Yeah, so we're doing this podcast. Me and Jay, we basically love music. But before we get into that, it's important to know our history with one another. Now, Jay, where would you start with explaining to people how we know each other?
Besides sexually, I mean, no.
Yeah. Let's warm them up first before we get
Okay.
into that part.
So basically, Michael and I,
You can't say that because I'm in the Bay Area, dude. So go ahead. Sorry.
I can say whatever I damn well please. We're in America. Okay, anyways, no, Michael and I, we've basically been friends since we were really young. I think we say 5, but I mean, really, if you want to tell the tall tale, which is not a tall tale that implies that it's a lie, but our families knew each other. We're from Versailles, Kentucky, central Kentucky area. And our families knew each other. I think, my grandfather coached your dad in basketball. And, your cousins and uncles and all that stuff. Our families just know each other, but we grew up, we went to elementary school together. Didn't go to middle school together, which is another story, maybe for another podcast. But we played football together, just longtime friends, liked a lot of the same stuff as friends do. And, yeah, I mean, after, let's see, I guess college, we kind of didn't necessarily go our separate ways, but you went to Georgetown College and I went to UK, and I went to 3 different colleges, which, again, another story. But, yeah, we've just been along for the ride. Now you're in California and I'm here in Kentucky, in our hometown. So
Yeah, and I think the cool thing about that is, and me and you mentioned a lot, but just for our online viewers, it's really cool to have a friend that you can just pick up with, no matter what happens in life. You just pick up just like normal. And I know me and you, we just pick up and we talk about music just all the time.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of people and you go long times apart from one another that you see them and it's kind of awkward. It's like starting over again. But I have a handful of friends, and obviously you're one of them, and we'll stop blowing each other soon enough. But I have a small number of friends that I can just go long periods of time without talking to each other, and you talk to them and it's like you talked 5 minutes ago. So. And I guess for the record, because I'm sure if we ever do one of these in the future, he'll be here, but we have another friend who we kind of ran around with. His name is John Ransdell. He's my roommate, right. But he's not here right now. He's actually headed up to Minnesota. So
yes, John Ransdell, hell of a guy. Going ice fishing, actually.
If I was a betting man, I would say that we would be recording this podcast next week or 2 weeks away, and he would be here, and he would come in and interrupt us and say something mildly offensive. So that's beside the point.
Yes. And I do have to give a shout out to John's friend in Minnesota who is visiting, Elijah. Hopefully you'll be listening to this podcast. The thing is, we don't know who's going to be listening to this podcast.
That's okay.
And that's okay. Yeah, well, it's really okay. I guess to kind of – let me see what I have next on the list here. Yeah, I guess the reason why we're doing this podcast is because am I jumping into the next part too much? Let me see here.
Well, no, not really. I think we were going towards. I guess we got started from that conversation we were having on the phone the other day about media and kind of where things are headed. And
Yeah.
you know what I think is funny, just I guess to kind of transition us into this, is the fact that, I mean, I think when we were in high school, you know, I was in a lot of computer classes and stuff like that, but I never knew you, or I never would have guessed this is, you know, this is not a diss. I'm not saying Michael, you piece of shit, but, you know, I would have never guessed in a million years that you would have been as involved in technology and media and such that you were in. I mean, obviously we were in a media class together. We were in a video production class and stuff like that. And I think that I know, at least for me, and maybe we'll talk on this another time, but that class really opened up a lot of doors. And, but yeah, we were basically talking, I don't know, go ahead and tell them what we were talking about.
Dave Noble's media class. Yeah, that absolutely opened the door for me. Just video editing and all that stuff. But, yeah, I mean, basically, I tell people this a lot. I'm out here in Silicon Valley with, you know, technology just booming and stuff. And I like to tell the story of when me and Jay are in high school, and in 2005, we're having a conversation. The iPod had just come out, and it had the pinwheel, and it was still in black and white. That's how old the iPod was. And Jay told me, he was like, in his just blunt matter of fact, he's like, dude, you know Apple has the technology to make this thing a phone. And I was like, you know, I never actually thought about that. And then I was like, okay, you're probably right. And then sure as shit later, yeah, we can say this. It's my it's our radio show. Surely later on.
We're not like overseen by Clear Channel here, okay? I mean, as far as I know, I don't have like a bucket with a bunch of stuff to bang on pots and pans. This isn't Fast Johnny in the morning radio hour. So say whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, sure as shit later.
And now we'll hear from the traffic copter.
Yeah, and on that note, that's a good one to plug my computer up so I don't run out of battery.
Something you should have done before you started the podcast.
Well, I have it set up and ready to go, but
okay. I'm sorry, you were talking about
how brilliant you were, and then
my Nostradamus ideologies about the iPhone. So.
Right, but yeah, so I just thought that was very visionary, and then when it happened, you know, it's just like, whoa, he really was like Babe Ruth calling the shot here. And then just recently, fast forward, we're back here and we're talking about, you know, media, this and that. And I've always wanted to be a TV writer, writing for TV. Well, Jay just really got me to think like, hey, you know, TV, you know, everything's going online. Everything's going to have a web presence. And you just really open up my mind, and you can talk more on this too, but you really open my mind to make the comparison of if I was in the 1920s or 30s and I'm just like, I really want to work for the newspaper. I want to run my own newspaper, see? And then you come along and you're like, dude, it's all going to broadcast TV. There's this thing called TV that's coming up. It's going to blow people's world. And I'm like, well, I really want to be a TV. Well, I really want to run a newspaper, see? And then that's where I think we are now. And that's the big reason for Gilky Way Galaxy Productions. So kudos to you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a great time for content makers and producers and just art in general. And, you know, I say art, and when I say art, I mean the broad spectrum of things encompassing music, movies, video games, books, you know, anything, blogs. It's a renaissance, so to speak, of a lot of stuff. And the kind of cool thing is a lot of people are learning how to and not to do things still to this day. I mean, you know, in the grand scheme of things, the